So let's start this broadcast with the latest in terms of what is happening in this war in Ukraine, where fears are on the rise that Russia could finally be making a renewed push towards Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. This after the American defense officials said that the Russian forces had moved 5 kilometers closer to the capital city in the last 24 hours. The latest satellite images now show that the large Russian military convoy that was last seen northwest of the city has largely dispersed and redeployed. The images show the armored units maneuvering through the towns close to Hostomel airport. Now, on your screens right now is the map of Kyiv that shows the sides from which the Russian forces are trying to encircle the city. The bulk of the fighting on the outskirts of Kyiv has occurred in the cities of Irpin and Bucha, from where thousands of civilians have been evacuated in the last few days. The Ukrainian army, meanwhile, has also released a video that shows a column of Russian tanks being stopped at the eastern entrance of Kyiv and being pushed back by soldiers at a nearby checkpoint who have confirmed that there's been a skirmish that in fact took place between the Russians and the Ukrainian forces on Wednesday, and that some Russian tanks had been destroyed in the process. The Russian Ministry of Defense has also released a video on Thursday that shows its airborne units in Ukraine, but the residents of Kyiv are putting up some brave resistance against the Russian assault.
No, we're not afraid. I know we are being defended. We are not afraid. I'm not afraid to die. I feel sorry for my children and my grandchildren. I'm not afraid of anything, you understand? I'm not afraid of anything. I'm afraid only for my children and grandchildren.
Now, Kyiv's mayor has said that half the population had fled, but added that the city had been transformed into a fortress. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what is happening in the capital of Ukraine, we are joined in by our correspondent, Anas Malik, who is joining us live from Kyiv, has been tracking the story very closely for us. Anas, get us the latest information in terms of what is happening on the ground, because the latest that is coming through is that the Russian convoy seems to have inched closer from what it was in just the last 24 hours.
Well, that is indeed true. We've heard reports that the Russian convoy has been approaching the city of Kyiv, Saleh, from the northeast and the northern side, precisely from the areas of Bucha, Irpin, and the area of Brovary, that is in the northeast. Now, Brovary is towards the northeast and it goes onwards towards Chernihiv, adjoining with the Belarusian border. We've seen reports of Russian advancement as well, and the fact that a fierce fighting has also taken place in the areas that I had previously mentioned. What is pertinent to mention is the fact that despite of the Russian aggression and continuation of and progression, the Ukrainian army continues to resist, and they're of the opinion that they will be able to hold back the city of Kyiv come what may. Saleh?
Right, now at this point of Anas, I hope you are in a place where it is safe. We just heard noise in the background, and also tell us in terms of what's been happening with the population in the city.
Well, a lot of people have migrated from here or sought refuge from the city of Kyiv because the vibe of the
All right, there seems to be a bit of a problem in that line there. We'll, of course, get back to my colleague as soon as we can. But remember, this of course, is in the middle of a war zone. And according to the reports that have in fact come in, we're given to understand that the Russian convoy has in fact been inching closer to the city of Kyiv. It has moved closer by almost about 5 kilometers. So this is, of course, the latest in terms of what is unfolding at this point of time in the capital city of Kyiv, where the Americans claim that the Russians are in fact poised to in fact carry out an attack on Kyiv imminently. From what is unfolding on the ground, it's fairly evident that the Ukrainians are also preparing for what they believe could be a greater conflict with the Russians at the borders in Kyiv. Remember, the Russian convoy that is said to be almost about 40 kilometers long, 40 miles long, had been camping on the outskirts of Kyiv for well over a week, for almost over 10 days. It had barely moved. There were occasional skirmishes between the Ukrainians and the Russians, but the Russian convoy had been camping for a very long time. But according to the latest information that is now coming in, it appears that the Russian military, the military convoy there, is tightening the screws, and it is moving in closer to the city of Kyiv. This, of course, is since the 15 days of fighting that have already taken place, and it remains to be seen in terms of how things, of course, pan out on the ground. The situation, of course, remains very fluid, and it is still not very clear as to what the Russian plans are, because on the one hand, there have been talks that the Russians and the Ukrainians have been holding. There are also corridors for the safe passage of civilians, and at the same time there are now reports that it looks like that the Russians are trying to tighten the screws on the capital city of Kyiv. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.